Hi, and welcome back. Uh, we're going to begin this week's workouts with more of a stretching formation or a stretching program exercise. So today should be relatively simple. So let's start by having our feet at shoulder width apart, and we're going to breathe in and out deeply, keeping the legs straight so that you're also getting that nice hamstring stretch. Take your time breathing in and then breathing out again, keeping the legs straight and breathing in as deeply as you can. For this last one, we're going to hold our arms up there. So try and really squeeze your ears. Then we'll focus on individual ankles. So right and then left and right and left and right. Keep your arms up there. Try and really squeeze your ears as much as possible so that you're also stretching through your arms. We are still going to be focusing on the ankles because we're going to work our way up. So double ankle raise. And we're going to try and hold for 5 seconds before we come down again. So holding it up there. 3, 2, 1. Go again. 5, 4, 3, 2. And go again. Up and hold. Down. Up and hold. Okay, finishing off this last one. Arms go back up there. And then we focus on the individual ankles. So right and then left. Then right again. Then left. Just to stress that we are trying to squeeze our ears with our arms so that you really are also stretching through your arms and shoulders. Okay, very good. Let's go back to the ankle raises. So where we go up and hold. Then down, up and hold. Then down again. So you should feel this one really firing up your calves and also testing your ability to balance yourself. Okay, up we go again and hold. And down, up we go. I wonder, would I be right in thinking that if you are a fan of wearing high heels, that this is relatively easy for you? I wonder, or is this training to get you to be able to wear your high heels even better? I wonder. Okay, so for one leg, put your toes down and then rotate. Try and rotate on your big toe. So just trying to get the ankle to go round and round. So we're going to do 10 repetitions in one direction, or the clockwise. And then once you get to 10, switch over to the other leg. And then again, we do 10 in that direction. And then we're going to switch back to the original leg and do the anti-clockwise direction. And then do the same for this other leg. Don't worry if your coordination is off. This is precisely why we're doing this, okay, to really improve ourselves, improve our flexibility, mobility. So don't worry if at first you can't be able to do it. Let's move higher up, so the knee joint. This next one is going to test your balance. So if you can have the wall, just like I do on this side, you can use it to help you with your balance. But otherwise, what's happening is we're trying to get that hamstring to, actually this is a hamstring curl. So trying to get that hamstring to curl. So sticking to one leg. So the idea is to really try and curl that hamstring as much as you can. Okay, you can always use the wall for support if you need to. But even if you're using the wall, try to not depend on it. Okay, so we can really begin to strengthen and stabilize your hip, your knee, your ankle, all of those things. This is what the balancing does. And also, balancing is a component of fitness. So, this is your chance to work on it. And it's very, very good if you're able to do this, because then, as we said in the previous video, in the previous workout, that when we're training our body, especially in resistance training, we're also training our nervous system. So it due to the neuromuscular system. So when you do this, then you're basically just firing up your nervous system and teaching it how to become more efficient in its movements. All right, let's switch gears a bit. So we're going to do high knees in this position, nice and slow. So your hands are behind the head, fingers are interlocked. Try and really drive your knee as high as you can, but also as slow as you can. Then hold up the right leg. I have provided the modification so you can sit on a chair and do this one. So as you're holding up your leg and squeezing it towards your chest, you are plantar flexing your foot and then dorsiflexing, i.e., pointing your toes and then flexing your foot. Pointing your toes and then flexing your foot. If you can, try and do this with your balance only. Okay, let's go back to the high knees. So nice and controlled movement. And then the right. and then the left, and then the right. So remember, we're training also our nervous system. So you find that the more you train it, the more efficient your movements become, the more efficiently you're able to recruit the necessary muscles to perform activities not just during your workout but also throughout your day, which then maximizes on the amount of energy that you can burn. Okay, let's come to the other leg. Again, flexing the foot, then pointing the toes, then flexing, which is what we call dorsiflexion, and then point your toes, which is what we call plantar flexion. So getting some mobility into the ankle. Okay, very good. Let's switch gears a bit and combine the high knee with the leg extension. So lift your knee and then extend your leg, then back and lower. I have provided the modification. So there you go. There you go. So nice and slow and controlled. So lift your knee, extend your leg, flex your knee, and down. Up, extend, flex, and down. So this is also pretty good for your hip, because in this action it is, let me take it to you, focusing on the hip, that is flexion. So the hip is still flexed and then extend. So working on the hip helps a lot because we use this movement a lot when you're walking, when you're running, in your day-to-day activities. So this is very good training for your hips as well. Finishing that, let's come back to holding up the leg, and then we're going to rotate the ankle. So choose a direction and then rotate your ankle in that direction for 10 times. Switch direction. So if you were doing clockwise, now we're doing anti-clockwise. So again, 10 repetitions. Let's go back to our balancing act. So lift, extend, flex, and lower. Lift, extend, flex, and lower. So this movement is working on so many things at once. The first one and most obvious is the balance. Then, of course, you have mobility in your knee, you have mobility in your hip, and as you're struggling to maintain your balance, you are also targeting the muscles that are found that stabilize your hip, stabilize your knee, stabilize your ankle as well. And for you to be able to do this also with your hands where they are, you are really using your core to do this. And your breathing. So this is a multifaceted movement. If it's difficult for you to maintain your balance, then you can always do the seated variation. Let's come to the other leg, and we're going to rotate our ankle again 10 times one direction, and then once you're done, switch the directions. All right, those are done. Next up, let's have our feet outside shoulders, meaning wider than shoulders, trying to keep the feet flat. Slide your hands behind your leg, your fingers behind your leg. We're going to try and really stretch the hamstrings, and we're going to hold this position for about 20 seconds. Now, again, the objective is to be able to get lower and lower the longer that you hold the stretch. So you're trying to get to the limit of your range of motion, because that's what static stretching helps with. It helps you increase your range of motion across a joint. So keep trying to get farther and farther down. Okay, good. Let's go again. Nice and slow, nice and controlled. Keep your knees straight so that you really maximize on the hamstring stretch. And again, try and reach as low as you can. So keep trying to get lower and lower. Or you could grab your legs and try and pull your head in towards your knees. All right, let's get into a bit of a wider stance, because now we're going to try and stretch the inner side of the leg. So find where is comfortable and then stretch it there, then up, then test the other side. So what you really want to try and do is have your feet on the ground, okay? All right, now we're gonna try and hold it here in this position once you've found your comfort zone, and just really try to stretch the inner side of the leg and hip. You'll also feel your quads activating as you stay in this position, because basically what you're doing is you're holding an isometric workout of the thigh, which is why you'll feel your thigh being really activated. Let's do one more side, one more time for this side, and then we'll finish off on the other side. Let's work it back in. You can choose to do a fancy way, or you could do the normal human behavior of the easy one. Okay, so switch legs, or the cross legs. We're gonna try and stretch the hamstring of the back leg. So I'm turning here so I can demonstrate. So cross your leg, then keep it straight. We're going to lower as much as you can or as low as you can, and then we're going to hold this stretch. So again, try and reach as far as you can, or keep trying to get lower and lower. If you begin to feel dizzy, because this might feel dizzy, then just do this just one time. Actually, once you start feeling this, just come up and take a break. Okay, next time I will provide a modification that you can do this when seated, so that we eliminate the dizziness. Though, if you do have the seat handy because you used it during the modification, then sit down at the edge of the seat and then straighten one leg and then try and get to the toes of that leg with your arms. I'll try and provide a modification visual next time. Okay, very good. Let's now cross, uncross, and then cross legs again, and then repeat. If you start feeling dizzy in this position, then just stand and take a break. Okay, but otherwise, if you're good to go, so we're trying to get lower and lower as much as we can. All right, that first one is done. We're gonna do it one more time, holding it for another 20 seconds. So sliding our arms all the way behind and then trying to get even lower than we were. And the reason why we cross our legs is so that you're able to keep that back leg straight. Okay, it's like a check and balance, or as they used to call it. Okay, this next one you might need a wall, which is why I'm trying to struggle to get to that wall. So what you're gonna try and do is take your arm and then place it in front of your leg or toes, so that that's the space between your toes and the wall. Or if you can't quite do that, then just get some distance between your toes and the wall, and then we're gonna try and get that knee to touch the wall. Now, the objective is to also have your foot flat on the ground, and we'll do this when we're kneeling. So if this is hard on your knees, you can get a pillow just to act as a cushion. No pun intended. Anyway, so the idea is as you're trying to get your knee to the wall, you're trying to also have your feet flat so that we're also working on the uh, dorsiflexion of your ankle, okay, which is very, very, very important when you're walking, so that you don't end up, hitting your toes. All right, hold that last one there for about 10 seconds. And then once you're done, switch over to the other one. So again, we're going to do this when we're kneeling. And you can have a pillow, the same pillow that you use to act as a cushion, just in case your knees don't like the pressure being applied by the floor. So trying to get your knee to the wall and back. If your knee can't get there without your heel raising, then let's focus on keeping the foot flat on the ground first before we get to the place where we're getting the knee to the wall. Let's hold this last one here for 10 seconds and then we can switch to something else. Let's move up, feet shoulder width apart. We're going to really rotate our hip here. I want you to try and feel the movement happening in your hip. Okay, so that's why we're doing it nice and slow, so that if you can feel your hip bones as you're doing this, then let that motion come from there. So you're not compensating with your waist or something else. Because it's something that I have seen a lot in my classes. So use your hands, if you can feel the hip bones, then use your hands to guide that hip bone to rotate from side to side. Also, we changed direction, so we're doing 5 clockwise and then 5 anti-clockwise. Let's now push that hip to one side as far as it will go. Then let's take the corresponding arm and then take it over our head and really get to stretch that side or the obliques and the arm as well. So this is a static stretch, just trying to increase our flexibility and decompress the back. Push your hip to the other side, then once it's got to its furthest, that's when you release your arm and take it over your head and hold it for 10 seconds. Going again, push your hip to the side as far as it will go. That's the only time you release your arm, and then take it all the way over your head, or rather over your ears, your ear. Hold it there for 10 seconds. Then breathe in as you come up. Then push your hip to the other side, to the farthest it will go. Then your arm over your head and hold it for 10 seconds. I'd like to stress, please do not hold your breath. Even in a stretch like this, do not hold your breath. Part of the reason why we hold a stretch for so long is so that it becomes uncomfortable for you to hold your breath, and then you're forced to breathe. So you want to really try and breathe through the stretches. Okay, so this one I'll do a side view so that you're able to see. The objective is that we want to do a dead hang. I thought I saw a spider. Okay, anyway, so I want to do a dead hang, or just hanging. So, and the objective also is to have your back straight. Okay, so just push your hip back and just hang in there. No pun intended. All right, up and lean backwards, but not too far back, just so you protect your back and also so that you don't fall over. Then we're gonna hang again. So imagine your arms just hanging downwards. Objective is to have a straight back. So placing your palms on your shin helps with having that nice straight back. You'll also feel this in your hamstrings, which is the idea. Then lean back, but not too far back that you lose your balance or fall. Let's come to the shoulder now. So extend one arm, cross it over the chest, lock it with the other one, then use the other one to turn. Keep your feet pointing forward. So the arm that is locking is pulling the other arm towards one side. So you should also feel this stretch in your back as well, which is the objective. Okay. All right, let's do the same thing for the other one. So extend your arm, cross it over the chest, lock it, then use that locking arm to pull the stretched arm and try and look as far back as you can. I must emphasize that you want to be breathing even as you're holding the stretch, especially if you have any cardiac risk, any cardiac attack risk or cardiac problems, because holding your breath in such movements is what happens, especially also when you're lifting heavy weights or holding a stretch. So you tend to hold your breath, and then pressure builds up too much, and then so that holding and then breathing, then holding again, then breathing is not very, very good for the heart. Actually, it's called the Valsalva maneuver. So I must emphasize that you want to keep breathing even as you're holding the stretch. Let's rotate the wrists. So 5 times one direction and then 5 times the other. All right, let's make a wave. So trying to really get that motion happening in the wrists and in the fingers. So if you have to exaggerate the movement, then feel free to do so. Coming back to the shoulder, so one arm touches the back, the other one pulls it, tries to pull it more inward. And then we're going to hold this position for a bit. So for about 10 seconds. And then once we're done, we're going to switch. So up and over to the back, and then the other arm pushes it in. So pushes it more. So it's like it's pushing it so it can, the other arm can reach even further back. All right, let's repeat it again one more time for this side, 10-second hold, and then we'll also repeat again on the other side. All right, let's rotate the neck, nice and controlled. So I'm gonna try and do 5 times one direction, and then we'll switch over to the other side. So nice and controlled. Try and get your head or your neck to go through that full range of motion. So chin to chest, ears close to the shoulders, head on the back, like that. So trying to get that full range of motion. To finish today's session, so bend your knees, pick it up all the way from up there as you breathe it in, and then breathe it out as you pick it up again. Again, try to not, well, we'll focus on this next time. Don't worry about it. Just focus on your breathing. And out. Then last one. So pick it up as you know that you are done. And finish. Okay, good stuff. How are you feeling? All right, see you.